Blissey V is a deck that I have always really enjoyed, and it suddenly gained a burst of popularity thanks to a couple of people being successful with it in online tournaments. This list comes to you from James Arnold, who won a recent online event, and it's really, really powerful, especially in the current standard format. So let's take a look at it and see exactly what it's supposed to do. Blissey V is obviously the only Pokemon in the deck. We play 4 of them. It has Natural Cure, which means when we attach an energy from our hand to this Pokemon, we remove all special conditions from it. That's very, very strong. Blissful Blast is the attack that we're going to be declaring. For 1 colorless energy, we deal 10 damage, plus 30 more for every energy card attached to this Pokemon, and then we can also attach 3 energy from our discard pile to Blissey, which means that eventually our Blissey Vs are going to be dealing a ton of damage. But I think the most important thing about Blissey at the moment is its HP. It has 250 HP as a base, and then when we add cards like Cape of Toughness, we can get as high as 300 HP on a 2-prize Pokemon. That is really, really strong, especially when decks like Mew VMAX or Single Strike Urshifu, although to be fair, that's fighting, so it probably hits this for weakness. Regardless, there's a lot of decks that cannot get to that threshold, and they can be beaten by Blissey because of the amount of healing we have. We've got cards like Pokemon Center Lady, Hyper Potion, we've got Regular Potion in the list, there's also Suspicious Food Tin in a 4-count, finally a use for this gold card, and we also have a couple of copies of Team Yell Towel as well to try and heal as much damage off of Blissey as possible. So our goal is going to be to pile energy onto a Blissey and then heal it as frequently as we can to try and stop our opponents from ever taking enough prizes to win the game. The best thing as well is that we can use energy cards like Powerful Colorless Energy or Capture Energy or Lucky Energy as well. Lucky Energy means when you get hit by an opponent's attack, you can draw a card for every Lucky Energy that is attached to your Pokemon. We can play all of these energy cards and not worry about not meeting the attack cost. A very, very cool list. It's down in the description below if you'd like to copy it into PTCGO and play along with me. Let's take it out onto the ladder and see if we can't win a couple of games with it. Thank you very much everyone, by the way, for all the support on my video yesterday or the day before, whenever it was. Coming back after a long break, it's always good to see people enjoying the content. Now, we are in a situation where we've been given our opponents just past the turn, which is pretty good. I'm going to play Zinnia's Resolve and discard a Psychic Energy, and also going to discard, I think a potion. We're only going to draw 1 card because that's the way that Zinnia works, but to be honest, I think it's a pretty solid thing to do to try and at least draw some cards. We also have Cape of Toughness and an energy. We can attack into this Victini and attach an energy straight away. It's really important for us to attach as many energy as we can in the early game against decks like Victini, because Victini is doing energy denial kind of strategy to win the game. So they're only going to have 1 or 2 Pokemon, but they're trying to stop us from ever having energy on our active. And you can see 2 Crushing Hammers coming down already. That is pretty frightening. But luckily we still have 1 energy attached, and the Powerful Colorless in hand as well is good too. It's a little disappointing that they got rid of the Lucky Energy, because I was kind of hoping that we could draw a card with that, but it looks like, for the first time in my life, I'm happy to say that we are getting Marnied, so we are looking at a bunch of other cards here. Path of the Peak doesn't really matter for us, and we do have energy in hand, which is pretty good. We can throw down another Blissey here. I'm going to play Allister and draw 3 cards, and I'll discard 1, 2. Yeah, I think those 2 are the only ones we want to get rid of, and then we can, what can we do here, actually? I think should we heal? I think we should, we can heal. I think this is fine. Just heal that damage off. 80 HP healed by the Suspicious Food Tin, and then we can Blissful Blast. Again, only 60 damage, but this time we get to attach 2 Lucky Energy from the discard pile, and we know for a fact our opponent cannot knock us out in 1 shot. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they can. They might be able to with like with V-Bullet or something like that, but it's unlikely that they're going to be able to do that. Plus, it's also unlikely that they can get rid of all of our energy this turn, although to be fair, we have seen 1 of the Lucky Energy disappear, when being Marnied as well. Okay, so it's not terrible, not an awful position to be in. If we lose all of our energy now, it will be, but it looks like they're just going to go for the max victory. We will draw another card thanks to our energy, and now we've got some decisions to make. What do we do? I think Lady plus Potion plus Suspicious Food Tin will be 60, 90, 170. So if we play all 3 of these healing cards, I don't think our opponent can knock us out this turn. We'll lose one of the energies, but I think that's fine. What I'll do first, though, is I'll take a look, because maybe we can find like a draw supporter. Allister seems pretty good. Maybe we go for the Allister and just attack into this Victini. See, this is where my lack of knowledge of the deck. If I played this 100 games rather than just a couple, this is where the lack of knowledge comes in. I'm gonna go with the healing strat. If they cannot knock me out, then that's a good thing. We'll go with all of that damage. We'll go down to 50 damage on our Blissey, which leaves us with 250 left. If they have something like a Tool Scrapper, then we will be knocked out this turn, but I think it's worth the risk. Considering the fact that we can put a whole bunch of damage on and potentially knock out a VMAX next turn, I think it is worth it. We'll just wait and see what our opponent decides to do. They're going for a research. So they're going to try and find themselves a whole bunch of energy denial cards. They're going to try and bring out the Blissey with a Pokemon Catcher. But it doesn't work, and they just hit into us. So the strategy has been perfect. Now, I think what we might do is we might just go looking here for another supporter. I think we play Allister, draw 3, and we can discard a couple of those energies, actually. Seems fine. I want to leave one in my hand so I can attach one this turn. How much damage am I dealing? 10-3. I think it's fine to attach to the bench here. I don't want to heal because I'm not going to be able to heal out of range of an attack anyway, so it's not really worth doing. And then I'm going to Blissful Blast. This should be enough to take a knockout, and it is 150, just enough. And we will take 3 prizes, which is pretty solid. The issue, though, is going to be using our 2nd and 3rd Blissey to try and take the last 3 prizes, because it's not necessarily going to be easy to power another Blissey up. Looks like they're just going to Energy Burst, which is perfectly reasonable, to be honest. It's a very powerful attack against Blissey in particular. And then, what are we going to do here? Well, I mean, we've got an energy on the active, so we can at least attack. I'm going to play down the 2nd Blissey onto the bench, and then I think we Allister again. Hopefully we find some energy, and we do. I'm going to discard that, and I'm also going to discard... Am I going to get rid of anything else? I think we're fine to just discard the Capture Energy, and then we'll attach the Lucky Energy, and we will attack into this Victini for a little bit of damage. Not too much, but just enough. Just enough to get us going. I don't think that they can knock us out this turn, but you never know. Stranger things have indeed happened. We'll put Lucky, Powerful, and Psychic Energy onto the Blissey, and then we'll go from there. Now, if they do attack us and don't knock us out, we've got plenty of healing in our hand. We've got Pokemon Lady, Hyper Potion, and Suspicious Food Tin, so we should be okay. They're going to deal 210 damage to us, which is pretty solid. That's a pretty solid hit, but it's not 250, so we are going to heal most of this damage off. We will Suspicious Food Tin down to, what's that, 70. It's a bit of a shame... Just in general, it's just a bit of a shame that we couldn't get ourselves down a little bit lower. So what I'll do is I'll use the Yell Towel, and then I'll attach to the active. Well, Blissful Blast, I haven't done the maths here. I don't think it's enough. 180. Oh, it would have been, but they have a big fire energy on them, which is a little bit disappointing. So if we were able to remove that heat fire energy, or whatever they call it these days, we might have been able to take a prize there. Even if we couldn't have bossed because we had to heal. So yeah, this is an interesting position. I feel like we might get knocked out here. And then I don't have a lot to work on. I do not have a lot to work with here. I do have an energy, and I have a Cape of Toughness, so it's not the end of the world. We can at least remove this Victini V from the board, but we're going to need to go through another VMAX on the bench, which is a little scary, to be honest. We'll play down that Powerful Colorless Energy. We've also got Allister as a supporter. We could play that. We could play down another Blissey if we want to, although I don't think we need to. And then the Cape of Toughness. Obviously, we will be able to attack into this Victini and take a knockout with Blissful Blast. Let's Allister here. We can put the Blissey in the discard pile. We don't need that. I will... oh, actually, I've got to remember to put the Cape of Toughness on. I will Blissful Blast here, take the knockout on the Victini V, attach 3 energies. We're going to go with, what, 3 Luckies? No, 2 Luckies and a Powerful Colorless. That seems pretty solid. And then we will leave it at that. We've got 2 prizes to take, plus we've got a ton of healing in our hands. So if ever we were to have a Blissey survive for a long time, this could well be it. Now, obviously, it does take a little bit of time for these kind of games to go on, so this video today is going to be slightly longer. If you are getting bored, that's fair enough. Take a moment, take a break, alright? Pause the video, go down, like it. That would be great. Share it with your friends. Go, hey, this is a silly deck. You should play Pokemon cards with it. That would be great. Also, in the comments, let me know, do you think that we are going to be getting Pokemon TCG Live anytime soon? Because PTCGO, though I love it, and I've played it for a long time, I am not interested in continuing with it anymore. So if someone could let me know when they think it's going to be coming out, that would be spectacular. Alright, so we have Schoolgirl in our hand. We could potentially play that if we want to. I don't right now. I do want to play... Actually, I want to go looking for a Pokemon Center Lady if we've got one. That would be great. So we'll play that. That's going to heal 60 damage from this Blissey. Then we've got a Hyper Potion as well. I'll use that. We'll get rid of the 2 Lucky Energy off of this Blissey to heal 120. And then we will play a Potion to get ourselves down to 10 damage. We can Blissful Blast here. It's going to deal a respectable 160 damage. And then we can attach 3 more energies to our active. I think that we are going to win this game, unless our opponent finds a way to attach 2 energy to a Victini V this turn and knock us out that way. Because they cannot use Max Victory, they cannot deal enough damage with this Victini V Max, so I think we might find ourselves in a winning position here. They have attacked into us, well played. Thank you very much, Geodude 1983. Appreciate it. I'll attach 1 more energy for good luck, and then Blissful Blast for the knockout on the VMAX. We have to attach these 3 energies. We take our last prize, and Blissey V, it's unkillable. It's very, very strong. Let's take it out and see if we can win again. Time to play a second game with Blissey. We'll see what we can do. We're going first this time, and it looks like we are up against a Sobble, which is an interesting Pokemon to see. Obviously, there are many decks that this could be. We've got some Evolution sleeves and deck box. So I'll roll the dice and say something like Jolteon, maybe? Could be. Could be Dragapult also. We're being Marnied, so out of a pretty solid hand here, which is unfortunate. We could have used Pokégear to try and find a supporter to discard some of these cards, but it's okay. I'm sure Marnie won't punish us this early in the game. Shouldn't have said that, but that's okay. We'll just top deck out of it. It won't be a problem. Let's see what we are up against here. It is Jolteon V. So Jolteon, a very popular Pokemon at the moment. It's incredibly strong, but it does struggle against decks like Blissey, because Blissey can heal a bunch of damage and Jolteon cannot take a knockout. Now, I've got nothing to do here other than attack. Luckily, we have a powerful colorless energy on the Blissey, which means that we can get a knockout on the Sobble, so I'm a-okay with that. Hopefully our opponent's hand is dead. We can boss the other Sobble and go from there, but obviously it's not. They've got an Evo Incense. This will find them a Sobble and then a Drizzile and then a Research, no doubt. So we're hopeful that we can find a draw supporter off of a top deck. That's what we're looking for. But again, it's not that big of a deal for us because we can afford to slowly build our Blisseys up against Jolteon. The most damage that Jolteon can realistically do in a turn is 100, and we've got 250 HP. We're guaranteed to be able to survive 2 hits and still relatively comfortable. I mean, they could use things like Zigzagoon and Quick Shooting Inteleon, but they don't have one yet, so I'm gonna hope that it doesn't happen. Oh, that's terrible. Fan of Way is really bad for us. Okay. So, if we can come back from this, this would be great. I will say right now, regardless of whether we win or lose, I will put this game in, unless it ends in the next couple of turns, because this could show how strong Blissey is. Could also show how bad it is that it doesn't have Research. But, you know, like, whatever. you know? Anyway, Fan of Waves is so bad as well, because it puts the energy back in the deck rather than the discard pile, so this is atrocious stuff. But that's okay, we've got 2 potions in our hand. This is not a problem. That Blissey doesn't help us. We will attach to the Blissey. We'll play a couple of potions just to make ourselves feel good. We don't want to get randomly knocked out, which could potentially happen if we don't do that. I'm also thinking we might boss here. That's actually probably just fine, the Blissful Blast. 40 damage is really sad, though, especially when we're not getting any energy. Hopefully, we can just rip ourselves a draw supporter off of the top deck at some point relatively soon. That would be fantastic, but, you know, doesn't always happen that way. I'm just going to sit back and relax. It's very warm. It's an Australian summer. It's a relatively mild summer, which is good, but still warm, especially when you've got all these lights. I don't know what to say. This is a big complaint session. It's like, oh, well, successful YouTuber, too many lights makes the room hot. Anyway, did I just call myself a successful YouTuber? I wouldn't say that I'm successful. Anyway, let's focus on what's going on the other side of the field. They're grabbing themselves another Jolteon. Is Nightmare 247. Very interesting name. And he's going to max Thunder Rumble. That's fine. It's fine. I'm not upset. We'd love to just see a draw supporter, but it's not going to happen just yet. So I will boss out, I don't know, this Drizzile. Just hopefully that slows him down a little bit. We'll put an energy on top of the not on top of the deck. We'll put an energy on our Blissey. It's not the end of the world, but I'm kind of desperate here. So essentially, I've gusted up a Pokemon. Okay, well, I gusted up a Pokemon that had a retreat cost in the hopes that maybe they couldn't get it out of the active. But all I've done is given them access to that Drizzile again. It's a little unfortunate. I think we're at a point now where my next card has to be either an energy or a draw supporter. And if it's not either of those, then we could be in big trouble. So I need to see one relatively quickly. Here's the Max Thunder Rumble. Please, game, just give me something to draw with. Okay, we've got Zinnia's Resolve. Just play it. Probably should have put other cards down, but let's just ignore that. We're going to move on with our lives. I'm going to attach the Cape of Toughness to this Blissey, which is fantastic. I will heal with the Hyper Potion, which I should have done before I used Zinnia anyway, but that doesn't matter. We're just going to move on. I'm going to use Blissful Blast with one of the Lucky Energy, and this time, for the first time this game, I'm going to accelerate some energy as well, which is fantastic. Now, our opponent can very easily heal this Jolteon VMAX, so we're not necessarily going to get knockouts super quickly. But we've already taken 5 prizes, so we could potentially find ourselves in a position where we can take a knockout on a Jolteon V, and then maybe the VMAX at the end of the game. And it is also very hard for our opponent to actually take a knockout as well. They can't realistically KO a Blissey unless we miss all of our healing, which is unlikely. Now, they're Marnieing, which is a bit disappointing. We lose our Zinnia, but hopefully we draw into a better hand than our last Marnie was. We've got another Zinnia here, which is great. We've got Allister as well, and a Cape of Toughness, so a second Jolteon, a second Blissey could potentially be on the cards for us. I'm feeling better. We're going to draw a card off of the Lucky Energy. We're looking good. Here we go. Okay, so we will start with an Allister. I think that's fine. We don't need to play any of the other cards. I'm also going to discard a Psychic Energy. I think that's all I'm going to get rid of. I don't need to discard anything else at this point. I will use Suspicious Food Tin. We'll heal off some of that damage. Now, we can't be KO'd unless they find a crazy hand here. Then we'll Blissful Blast. We'll hit into this Jolteon. We don't knock it out, but we do put ourselves in a good spot. And hopefully they don't have a card like Cheryl, which could heal themselves. That is what we do need to be worried about here. If they play Cheryl, then all of the work that we have done will be undone. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. Realistically, I can still see a world where we win, even if they do use Cheryl. Now, what do we do next turn? We've got 5 energies here. That is dealing 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 160 damage, plus the 20 for the Powerful Colorless. So we're dealing 180 damage here. 180 is pretty solid. We can get up to 210, which is not enough to one-hit KO a clean VMAX, but we will be able to finish this one off. We've also got a Draw Supporter in our hand. We've got Pokégear and Hyper Potion, so we could potentially find some healing cards as well. I'm not necessarily feeling too bad at this point. We do obviously have to deal with all of this snipe damage that will be coming from this Jolteon here. They've got Scoop Up Net, which means they can reuse their Quick Shooting Inteleon if they want to, or they can just go with the Zigzagoon. That's also fine. And then they're going to research. So I don't know. I feel like we don't lose, right? We're not going to lose, but it's definitely a close situation. Let's put it that way. They've gone into the fresh Jolteon, which I don't mind. We've got a Pokégear here, so we'll take a look, see if we can find ourselves a Pokemon Center Lady. Then we'll heal, and we'll heal as much as we can realistically here. I'll get rid of both of these Psychic Energies. We don't really need them. We just need the Powerful Colorless. Then I will use Zinnia here. I'm going to get rid of I think Allister and a Cape of Toughness. I want to leave one Cape just in case we need a second Blissey. And then we can attach Powerful Colorless here and Blissful Blast again. Again, we're not taking a knockout, which is a little disappointing, but we are putting ourselves in a position to try and win this game. I think our opponent needs to play Cheryl right now. This is the turn, I think. This is the there it is. There's the Cheryl. Okay, so now we're in a weird one. We need to make sure that we hit 300 damage 2 turns in a row, and that can be quite tricky, especially with all the pressure that our opponent is putting on us. They're Max Thunder rumbling here. We've got some Suspicious Food Tins we can use to heal some damage, and if we find ourselves a copy of Pokemon Center Lady, we can actually heal all of the damage off of this Blissey. So let's go looking for one. We've got an Allister. That's a good card. I'm happy to have that in my hand. Actually, no, we're going to use Schoolgirl. We're not going to bother. We're not going to go looking for it. We're just going to try and get as much stuff as we can. The Yell Towel, helpful. And then we can attach the Powerful Colorless as well. And then we can attack Blissful Blast here. A pretty solid hit. 250 damage. Don't think that's too stressful here. Very happy with that, but to be honest, it would have been better if it was 300. We've got one more. I think we're in a position now where 2 more attacks will do the job. We can attack into the active, then attack into the benched Jolteon, and we should theoretically be able to win this game. Most Jolteon lists don't play more than one Cheryl, so I don't think we're going to find ourselves getting hit by that again. We do, however, need to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position where Jolteon can KO us with a bunch of damage. Now, Marnie here could hurt a lot. We did 250 damage last turn. We're doing 280 this turn, I think it is, because we accelerated one of our energies. We need to find another energy here to one-shot this. We've done that, and we've found Pokemon Center Lady as well, which is incredible. Okay. Ooh, Powerful Colorless Energy is pretty good. I'm going to play that Pokemon Center Lady. That puts us down to 90. We've got 210 HP left. I don't think that there is any way for our opponent to knock our Blissey out here. We take 3 prizes as well, and now all we need to win this game is 1 copy of Boss's Orders. We've got Pokégear in hand, so we can go looking for it. We've also got a special energy that'll let us draw cards if they attack into us. Our opponent obviously identifying that they're going to lose if they put their Jolteon into the active, so they've thrown the Zigzagoon here. And yeah, we just need to find a boss. That's all we need to find off of this Pokégear is 1 Boss's Orders, and we will be set and ready to go. We've just top decked it. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll boss out that Jolteon. Well played, Nightmare. Thank you very much for that one. And we deal a solid 330 damage for the victory. Blissey's actually pretty good. So Blissey, a very, very strong budget possibly deck. That's a weird way to say that, but I call this a budget deck. Cost-wise, it's relatively cheap, and it's unlike my last video where there were cards that were expensive but useful in many decks. All of these cards are super cheap. There's not even any supporters that are really that expensive. So Blissey definitely a good budget option. Power-wise, you can see how quickly we get to those big 300 damage thresholds. A very powerful deck. Its only issue is its consistency. It does rely a little bit on a bit of luck and some matchups. being favourable. At the moment, though, they are, so I'm giving this one a pretty solid grade. Definitely worth picking up if you're looking for a deck that's competitive but on the cheaper side. So there you have it, Blissey V. Very cool deck. Definitely a good one to pick up. I've said this already, you don't need to hear it again. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. We're back to regularly scheduled programming on Sunday. We're going to have videos Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday as per usual. So hopefully you join me for the next one. I'll see you there. Thanks very much, everyone, and I'll catch you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.